Let's talk about this headline. This is going to be no surprise to New York City renters, but essentially, rent prices are outpacing wage growth by a lot. In 2023, rents in New York City went up 8.6%, while wages only increased 1.2%. And I think this makes sense because for most of us, our rent goes up every single year, and we don't necessarily get a raise every single year. And the overarching solution to this problem is that we need to build more housing, but that's not going to happen overnight, and it doesn't help renters right now with their rent increases. So as a New York City renter, what can you do? Number one, and I know this is easier said than done, but you want to give yourself the breathing room to be able to absorb some of these rent increases year over year. Unless you are expecting to be getting salary increases year after year, you want to rent something that's a little bit less than what your max budget would be. Number two, you want to try and get your hands on a rent-stabilized apartment. I've talked about this a lot. There's nearly 1 million rent-stabilized apartments in New York City. You can rent them normally on the market. If you're looking for a rent-stabilized apartment, you can browse rent-stabilized listings on openiglu.com. And number three, if you don't have a rent-stabilized apartment, you want to find out right now if good cause eviction applies to your building and landlord. It's a new law that just passed a few weeks ago, and it essentially limits how much your landlord is allowed to increase your rent. How are you dealing with the rent increases in New York City? Let us know in the comments.